So welcome, guys. This is episode number 11. I normally do this, but I've run out of fingers. So 11. It's hard to believe we've already had 10 of these. It's really exciting. Tonight, we're going to talk about setting up our listing and keyword research. I brought on with us Kim. Kim works on the Jungle Scout marketing team. She does all of our SEO and keyword research, a lot of our content creation. So I figured she'd be a really good candidate to have on the webinar with us tonight. She also handles the Jungle Sticks listing. She's setting up the Hooded Baby Towel listing right now. So she's going to teach us a lot of her knowledge and her expertise about finding the right keywords to kind of like target for our listings, best practices when set up our listings. So yeah, it's going to be really great. Kim, do you want to give the kind of the real introduction of yourself, or tell us a little bit more about you?
Yeah, sure. So as Greg already mentioned, I'm based in the UK. It's 1 a.m. at the minute. I'm still awake. I'm still here, very much awake. So we're going to be fine. So I've worked in marketing for the past 7 years, really focused on digital marketing over the past 5 years of that. I've worked in e-commerce for a big e-commerce company in the education sector in the UK. And I've also worked in agencies with lots of different clients as well. So I like to do lots of different things, which is a great thing about being part of the team at Jungle Scout. SEO, keyword research being part of my skill set.
All right, and tonight you're rocking the Jungle Scout shirt, and I'm not wearing mine, which I normally always wear my Jungle Scout shirts, but looking good. As a lot of you guys probably know, we found a good opportunity. We located a supplier for that. We designed our packaging. Our product's being made right now. This is what our packaging looks like. They actually mailed this physically to Gen. It looks like the thing got beat up a little bit in the mail, but it looks pretty good. We're happy with it. I think it turned out really nice. It has this little hole in it right here for the to kind of like get an idea of like the fabric or what color it is. The hole is smaller than 1 inch by 1 inch, which means we don't have to put this in a bag. So that's part of the reason it's kind of a smaller hole than you normally see. As you can see, we printed the FN SKU straight on our packaging, so we're not going to be putting like any stickers on this. But yeah, this is what it's going to be looking like. So by the end of today's webinar, you guys will know the anatomy of a product listing, how to do keyword research and find good keywords for your listing to target, a little bit more about like product listing copywriting tips, kind of like, you know, what you want to tell people once they get to your listing. And something new that we didn't do the last case study, because this is a relatively new feature that Amazon has, is enhanced brand content. So like if you go to our Jungle Sticks listing right now, you can see an example of this. But in the product description section, there you can put additional pictures, you can do a little bit like cooler formatting. So Kim's going to talk to us about that a little bit more towards the end of the webinar. So let's just talk real quick, you know, like why is your product listing even important? You know, this might seem kind of like intuitive or simple to you guys, but you know, this is like your shop window. This is where customers are going to learn about your product. It's where they're going to see your product. And at the end of the day, it's where they're going to be hopefully convinced to buy your product as opposed to some of your competitors. So we need to take this seriously, right? Every element of your listing needs to be optimized to perform well. And at the end of the day, you know, convert your listing into sales. So, you know, a poor listing means you're leaving money on the table. An optimized listing, more sales and more profit, which is what we want. So there's a few key elements of this product listing. There is the product title, which is extremely important, both for whether or not people click on your listing, as well as how well it ranks in the search results for your search terms. There's the product photography, which again is extremely important, especially that main image, the one that people see in the search results page. And then less important, but still very important, is the product description and the product features or bullet points. We'll also say here, reviews are extremely important for your conversion rate and for that social proof that you need for people to purchase your product. We're not going to talk about reviews much tonight, but we are during next week's webinar when we're going to talk about our product launch, how we're going to get initial sales, how we're going to get initial reviews. A lot of you may know, but back in October, Amazon kind of changed some of their terms of service on how you're allowed to get reviews. And just, you know, we're fully going to be 100% compliant, no questions asked with the terms of service. And we'll be covering that a little bit more next week. So we do have a pretty cool free tool for you guys. You can find it at junglescout.com/grader. In this, at this tool, you can actually paste the link for any listing on Amazon.com. You can enter your email, and we send you a report of how kind of like optimized the listing is, or how like high quality the listing is. So it grades the product title, the images, the bullet points, the description, the number of reviews, all this stuff, and it lets you know kind of like out of 100 points how good this listing is, how quality is, how high end it is. So yeah, just a little cool tool I want to tell you guys about. I'm also real quick going to talk about Splitly. We haven't covered this so far in this case study. This is another one of our tools that's not quite relevant for a lot of you guys yet if you don't have your first product on Amazon. But Splitly is an A/B testing tool for Amazon listings. And the reason I'm bringing this up during this webinar is with Splitly, we've seen a lot of data points that shows us kind of like what perform well. So, what performs well, whether it's a long title versus a short title, whether it's this image versus that image. And from all these data points that we've gathered, we have like a great understanding of what it really takes to make a listing that ranks well in the search results. It converts well to customers and all that kind of stuff. So if you do already have a product on Amazon, feel free to check out Splitly. We have this case study posted on splitly.com that talks about how the number of pictures correlates to conversion rate, how the length of the title or the keyword richness of the title correlates to sales or sessions. So we have a lot of cool free information on Splitly, so I encourage you guys to check that out as well. So we started to create our listing, I think that was like 2 or 3 webinars ago, when we needed to find our FN SKU barcode, which is what we put on our packaging. So if you guys are following along step by step with this case study, you may already have the listing created. If you haven't yet done so, it's super easy. Once you create a Seller Central account, you go to inventory, add a product. You click the create a new product listing because, at least the sales model that we're teaching during this case study is like the private label model. This product's not already going to be for sale on Amazon. So we're going to create a new one. You select the most relevant category for your particular product. For us, there is a specific subcategory called baby bath towels, which is perfect. So that's the one that we selected. And after you do that, you'll be able to fill in some of the information. Kim's going to show us this. We're going to be able to look over her shoulder as she kind of does this a little bit later in the webinar. So don't panic if you think I'm going through this kind of fast. But that's, after we set up our listing, this is where we're going to be able to add all this information into it. There is one little cool hack that I want to tell you guys about. This doesn't work 100% of the time, but I think it works maybe like 80% of the time, and it's worth trying because, there's no harm in not trying. But there's something called the canonical, and I think I'm pronouncing it right, canonical URL. So if I look at an Amazon URL, it probably says like amazon.com/dp/the ASIN. And then the next slash is normally my canonical URL, or sometimes it's before the ASIN. But you'll see there's a few search terms in there. I'll show this to you guys in just a second. There's a few search terms in there that I think it's safe to assume, like our research leads us to believe that those have like a pretty big impact on how you not only rank on Amazon, but also on Google. So let me I wasn't planning on doing this, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to go to Amazon. I'm going to search for our marshmallow sticks. Marshmallow sticks. All right. I am going to click on our listing. And you'll see here, let me try to zoom in. I guess it doesn't help you guys much. When I zoom in here, you'll see there's like amazon.com/marshmallow roasting skewers, which are 3 really high quality keywords for us. Environmentally and biodegradable aren't quite as good, but that's okay. So we have like 3 really high quality keywords here. And this also helps if we just go to Google. I was already there. If I didn't try this before, so we'll see if this is still true. But we used to rank really high for, let's see, this is us right here. So we rank like number 3, which is pretty good for marshmallow sticks. We may rank even better for marshmallow skewers. But I think it's safe to assume that the canonical URL, like based off our research and based off other research we've seen, that these keywords right here play a major part in how we're ranking, like on Google and in Amazon for this keyword. So Amazon doesn't let you see like where the referring traffic comes from, but it's probably safe to assume that we get a fair amount of traffic from actually Google, from people searching for this. Or let's try skewers, marshmallow skewers. Yeah, so I guess, again, we're in the number 3 position, which is pretty good. So yeah, we get a fair amount of traffic probably to our listing from this. So the hack is, when you're first setting up your listing, what you can do is, like we're setting up this listing now, even though our product's not in yet, we can enter some of our main keywords into the product name, manufacturer, and brand. And it looks like this is a great spot, or it looks like the first time you do this, this is what Amazon uses to create like that canonical URL. It doesn't always stick if you change it in the future, but a lot of times it does. So like a lot of times I could put in the product name, manufacturer, and brand here. I could do like hooded baby and towel, maybe for like my product name, my manufacturer, my brand. And oftentimes that will then be my canonical URL, like hooded-baby-towel, which would be 3 really good keywords for us ranking on Amazon and on Google. So like I said, it doesn't work 100% of the time. Sometimes like when you change it down the road, it changes like to your new words, but other times it sticks. But it's like there's no harm in trying. So it's kind of like a cool little hack. So with that being said, the next slide, I'm going to let Kim take it over because she's way smarter about this stuff than I am.
Okay, so to start off, I'm just going to talk a little bit about why keyword research is so important for you creating your listing. Pretty self-explanatory. The first point, we want to identify the key terms that people are searching for to find products just like yours. And we also want to identify the key terms that your competitors or your competitors to be, once you launch, are ranking for and generating sales from, because we want to compete for those keywords. We also want to figure out any other related keywords that you may not have thought of. You could be surprised by some of the keywords that people search for to find things that you may not have realized. And ultimately, it's to get your product listing to rank well in the Amazon search results and other search engines too, like Greg just mentioned. So I just briefly want to cover Amazon's A9 algorithm. I don't want to go into too much detail about this, but essentially, this is their algorithm that powers the Amazon search engine. And it's really crucial to their business model because essentially it seeks to provide shoppers with what they're looking for to generate more sales. So it's going to look at many different factors, one of which we're going to cover in depth today, which is degree of text match. So that's where keyword research really comes into play. There's lots of other things too, such as price, availability, sales history and reviews and things like that. And obviously all of these things are super important too. And like Greg mentioned earlier, we will cover much of that in future sessions as well. So the first big question is how do I go ahead and find which keywords that I need to use in my listing? So there's quite a lot of free and paid tools for this. My go-to one is actually Google Keyword Planner. There is a small caveat to this. Google have annoyingly changed it recently. So unless you're running ads on the Google AdWords platform, then they give you slightly less specific search volumes. But nonetheless, it's still a really useful tool. And actually, most of these tools, like I've cross-referenced search volumes for keywords from Google Keyword Planner to Ahrefs, and they differ. Like, it's really difficult to know which one is accurate. But at the end of the day, you get in a good idea comparatively which keywords are generating more sales each month. So Google Keyword Planner is the one that I always go to, and I am going to dive into this and show you how it works too. The following 3, Ahrefs, Keyword Planner, Moz have a Keyword Planner. They're both paid options. They're pretty cool. They give you some extra insights. I'll give you a little example with Ahrefs in a little while. And then there's one called keywordtool.io. Interestingly, this has search volumes for Amazon, Bing, and Google. It is a paid tool, though, to get those search volumes, and I'm not really sure how accurate those are going to be for Amazon. I'll show you a few little hacks in a moment anyway. And then for further ideas and semantic keywords, so by semantic keywords, I mean keywords that are related to the one you're interested in, right? So you can use some free tools like LSI Graph or Ubersuggest, and you literally just put a keyword in that you're interested in, and it brings you up a whole bunch of other keywords that are related to that keyword. So it's really useful for mining for further ideas. So let's dive into it a little bit. So for jungle snugs, I've done some keyword research, I've documented it, and I've got lots of different ideas already. So I'm just gonna escape out of here, and there we go, show you the keyword research that I've done. So I've logged this into a spreadsheet, as you can see, and I like to split it up by topic, and everybody's different on this. This is just my preference. It's really useful to keep a document like this because you're going to use it in the future to continue to build on your listing and improve it. You may even use it in the future if you decide to do any Amazon PPC ads. So it's really useful just to keep a list of this. And not only that, it will really help you when it comes to actually writing your product listing content and ensuring that you're including the right keywords into that. So this is the spreadsheet that I've been using for Jungle Snugs. I've also got a blank version of this template that you can use. I think Greg will drop it in the live chat for you. So that's a view-only spreadsheet, so you can make a copy of that, use it to your heart's content, and amend it and fill it in and do whatever you need to do with it. So how did I populate this spreadsheet? Well, like I say, I always go to Google first. So as you can see here, I've done a search in the Google AdWords Keyword Planner, which, by the way, to get access to this, you will have to set up a Google AdWords account and you will have to set up an ad, but then you can just pause it straight away. You don't have to actually run that ad. So here I've done a search for baby hooded towels in the United States, and it's given me all of these results. So first up, we've got Google Trends, so I can see any seasonality for that particular keyword. It gives me the average monthly searches for baby hooded towel. And like I say, if you're not running any AdWords ads, then that might be less specific. It might say between, I don't know, say 50 and 900 instead of 1,000. It'll tell you whether the competition is high or low, although it normally just says high. So I think pinch of salt there. And it gives a suggested bid for the Google platform. At this point, I'm just kind of looking at the average monthly searches, the competition, and then also it gives a whole host of other keyword ideas and the same information for those as well. So at this point, I'm filling this out straight away. And like I say, I like to split it out into different topics. So here I've got hooded towels, bath towels, all sorts of different things, towel wrap, washcloths, bathrobe, boys, girls, unisex. So I like to do it that way so that I've got all the different range of keywords and I know what they're all related to, and it's really easy to look back on the information. So I've already got some out of Google. Then I'll head into LSI Graph. And this is literally, you can just type, you can see I've been here before, just tell it you're not a robot, generate, and then there's a whole list here. You can scroll up and down. There's all sorts of things. Some of it might be brand names that you weren't previously aware of. There might be some keywords in here that that you realize, well, I don't want to target that. But actually, a lot of the ideas that I used to generate this in this document came from LSI Graph. So I'll pull things out of here and then punch those into Google and get the search volumes from those. And then Ahrefs, I mentioned that. So this is a paid tool. One thing that's really cool about this is you can punch in more than one keyword at a time. It'll give you a nice overview for that group of keywords. So it gives you things like search volume and also total clicks. So it will tell you how many people have clicked on a search result after searching for that particular term. There's also other keyword ideas. This is really interesting. You get to see top countries by volume. United States is at the top, which is really promising because we're launching in the US marketplace first. Traffic share by domains. Now, this is actually really useful too, because it's showing you what domains are ranking the highest for that particular keyword. And don't forget, you can always get this by just going into Google and doing a manual search for a keyword, and you can see what ranks. This is really useful because you can look at things like Bed Bath & Beyond and Target and take a look at their content, maybe get some inspiration, ideas for further keywords and for content for your listing. And then also it shows that Amazon is third, which again, that's nice and reassuring for us. And so the other thing that I wanted to mention was using the Jungle Scout niche hunter. So if you're already, if you have the Jungle Scout web app, there's this neat tool in there called the niche hunter. And basically you can enter any keyword into that and get loads of keyword ideas straight out of it. And the best thing about this is that straight away you can find your main competitors on Amazon, go and take a look at their listings, take a look at what's in their copy. Generally, you can see what keywords your competitors are going to be targeting because it's going to be in the title for their product. So that's another neat way that you can get keyword ideas. So you can just type hooded baby towel in there and hit search, give you all of these keywords, hit this little arrow, up will pop listings that are selling for that particular keyword, and you also get an idea of like the average units sold, competition, listing quality score, and things like that. So if you do have the Jungle Scout web app, then that's another nice way to get keyword ideas and also Amazon specific information about those keywords, which is really useful for you guys. Overview, so the top tips there for the keyword research that I've just covered is definitely keep a logical record of your findings. It's going to help you in the future, so you might as well spend a little bit of time now doing that. Use a mixture of tools. Like I've just shown you, it's totally up to you what you decide to use, whether you use totally free tools, maybe invest in one paid tool. It's totally up to you, whatever works for you, but try and use a mixture because then you can sort of cross-reference and make sure that you've got some good data in there. You can keep notes in your document of what are your top keywords. So as you're going, maybe just have a column for notes like I did in mine. So you can start to highlight the ones that you know are going to be your top keywords. And then also your tertiary keywords. So your top keywords are the ones that, like Greg was just saying, you might want it in your canonical. You may want to have that in the title of your product. But then you're going to have a whole bunch of other tertiary keywords that you want to drop into your features and description. And also, we'll cover in a little while putting all of your search terms in the back end of Amazon in the search terms fields too. So if you're unsure whether a specific keyword is relevant, like I've said, a lot of people forget to do this. It's so simple. Just do a search in Amazon or even in Google and see what comes up. So one of the keywords that I found was bathrobes. Now, our product is more of like a poncho type thing, and that's another keyword that I found. And I was like wondering, which, are these keywords relevant for this specific product? So I just did a search in Amazon and see what came up, see if it's the same kind of product, or if it's similar enough, you may still want to rank for it because then you can compete for some of the sales. And also use your competitors' listings. So this part's really important. Just make sure that you're keeping on top of who your competitors are. If you have the Jungle Scout Chrome extension as well, you can get some data in there, take a look at the Amazon listings, see what keywords are in people's titles and things like that, and use that to fuel your your keyword research. So just a little bit about the do's and don'ts of Amazon SEO. So once you've found all these keywords, you've got a whole bunch of ideas of what you need to weave into your product listing. Like, what do you do with them? So I'm going to start with the don'ts, because they're always less fun. Do not include your competitor's brand name in your listing. So this is just spammy, is bad practice. You want to have your brand name on there. Don't try and rank for your a top competitor's keyword.
Kim, I'll also just throw in there real quick. Actually, if your competitor does have like a registered trademark, they are able to like file a complaint if you use a trademarked term in your listing. So for example, like if I was selling like Legos or like something like that, I couldn't use the term Lego, because that's like a trademark term, kind of like in my listing. So they can file a complaint with Amazon. Amazon will suppress your listing. So another reason not to do that.
Cool. Yeah, that's a really good point, Greg. Thanks. So the next point, do not include any misleading keywords. So, our product's a baby bath time product, but we don't want to be like including keywords about bathtubs necessarily in our listing, unless, it's relevant. It has to be relevant. If you keyword stuff similarly, or in Amazon's words, provide redundant information, so just stuffing a whole bunch of keywords into your product listing, i.e. the part that the shoppers can actually see and read, this is also bad practice. And do not use punctuation in the keywords section in Seller Central. I'm going to show you this shortly, but basically when you add your keywords to the back end of Seller Central, i.e. the part that shoppers can't see, don't add any punctuation there. And the do's: do your extensive research and ensure to keep a document with all of your keyword research in there. Enter your top keywords. Now, this is really important. So you need to enter your top keywords in all areas of your listing, including the title, features, description, even the image file name. And then, of course, we're going to add keywords in the search terms in the back end too. And another really important point, I think this is really important, is to keep it balanced. You do need to include keywords. You need to weave them into your content. But remember that human people are going to read your listing. So it's got to sound natural. It's got to sell your product. It's got to show the benefits in a natural way, as natural as possible, whilst also including those keywords. And that is sort of what you kind of have to practice with incorporating your keywords into your content. And I'm going to cover a little bit of that now. So moving on to product listing writing tips. So I quite like this quote: writing is easy. All you have to do is cross out the wrong words. I find it quite funny, actually, because when it comes to keyword research, SEO, and optimizing a product listing, it's actually about writing something that sounds nice whilst including all of the right words, which is your keywords, right? So I always find that quote quite interesting in terms of optimization. So these are just some top level tips how you can really make your product listing content stand out. So for your title, put your brand name in the title, like we've mentioned, not your competitors. Include some features in your title. So try and include, a little bit about how the product is going to change the customer's life, or if it solves a problem, maybe include that. Or, like for us, it's hypoallergenic, so maybe we'll include that in the title. Yeah, and include your keywords too, but keep it human friendly. For your product features, so these are the bullet points on your listing. Try long form versus short form features. This is something you could split test. Greg mentioned Splitly earlier. You can actually, test what actually works when it comes to your product features, which is very much advised. And I'm sure we'll cover that in more detail in future sessions. Include guarantees, convey quality, anything that you can add that sets you apart from your competitors. So, look at what they're saying about their products and then think, well, how does mine differ? Include that in your features. How will the product features solve a problem or change the customer's lives? So you're already starting to paint a narrative at this point in the bullet points of, why do they want that product? How is it going to help them? And then your product description. I think a lot of people assume that shoppers won't read it. Some won't. Some might read some of it. Some might read all of it. But the point is, if some are going to read it, it needs to be good. You need to make it easy for them to read and scan and find the information that they're looking for. And also, it's a great place to include your keywords, which is great for the search engines. You can utilize capital letters to highlight features. Add powerful taglines. So that's a really nice way to break up the description by adding sort of headings or taglines. Give your product a narrative. So we've already talked about this a little bit, but sort of try and tell a story with the product and how it's going to fit into the target customer's life. Use descriptive language. These are just some examples like robust, elegant, beautiful, strong. It depends on the product, but this really helps to paint a picture. So here's the content that I've started drafting out for our product. I like to do it personally. I do this in a Google document because it editing content within Seller Central is not the best text editor to use. So it's easier to do it in here first. And also, you know, if the page dies or whatever, at least it's being backed up if you do it in a Google Drive document, for example. And it also means you can play around with it a little bit until you're happy. So I've created it in here. You can see I've done a nice title. I've got some keywords in there, like luxury hooded baby towel. I've got washcloth in there, antibacterial. I've used these little pipe symbols to separate the different parts of the title. And then in the features, I've kind of picked out 5 different features for this particular product and then done a long form explanation of each feature. And then in the description, again, I've used taglines. I've tried to paint a narrative here. So, you know, baby bath time will take on a whole new meaning with the Jungle Snugs hooded baby towel set. And I've talked about things like it being perfect as a gift, mentioned things like baby showers, baby hampers. So this is just one example, but you can see how in the description you can really start to talk a little bit more about the things that you mentioned earlier in the features in a little bit more detail, whilst getting extra keywords in there as well. So, and I have weaved them in throughout this, but it still reads like a nice narrative, a story to really get potential customers on board. So this is within Seller Central. So this is where I have placed all of the content for the listing, what I've just shown you. So I've literally just copy and pasted into here. So in description, this is where the features go. I can't add any more. You can see you get 5 different fields for this. And I've just copied and pasted what was in my document. And then in the description, you can make it larger like this. I've added some HTML in here. This is sort of Amazon advised that you don't do this, but a lot of sellers do, and the listings are fine like that. They get approved. And as you can see, this is what I'm talking about. It's really hard to work with this because you have to bunch it all up back to back. So I've just pasted it in and added a little bit of HTML in there. And then just to show you what that looks like. So as Greg mentioned, we've got no photography on there yet, so ignore that. But you can see, I can see straight away. Well, normally it takes up to 15 minutes for it to get approved, but usually when you add like little amendments and stuff, it goes through straight away. So you can check it live on the page. We can see the features here, and then the description here. You can see the HTML that I've used. I've got these nice separate areas for each topic. So yeah, I mean, it's looking good so far. It's, you know, I might change this in the future, maybe go back to it, tweak it, add a little bit more to it.
Yeah, just one thing I'll throw in here, Kim, is that guys, keep in mind that you can like edit this listing as much as you want. So, you know, like version 1 doesn't have to be perfect, right? If you don't like do the HTML in the description, or you don't include all the keywords you want or whatever, it doesn't matter. You can go in and edit it as many times as you want. So, you know, it's like no pressure. Like the first time you launch it, no big deal.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely, like, as with everything on the internet, it's a moving feast, and you actually, you know, you can and should revisit it and add to it and improve it as time goes on. So yeah, that's absolutely right. Don't worry too much about making it perfect right away. Okay, just back to the slides. Okay, and just following on from that, I just want to mention enhanced brand content, because this is relatively new and it fits in with this model that we're using, private label. So this is similar to what was A+ content. So it's a way, well, what is A+ content, I should say. So it's a new way to get images and HTML text formatting into your product description, particularly the images part. So you must have a brand registered product. So you've got to have private label products for this. And you can see here on the slide, this is an example. I think Greg can drop a link to the actual listing in the chat. This is an example of our Jungle Scout t-shirts. So these are some t-shirts that we're actually selling to support our scholarships program. So supporting scholars in the United States. And I've added some enhanced brand content. So there's a nice graphic there, printed with love in the USA. It gives the description a really nice visual feel, adds a little something for potential customers visiting that page. My one tip with enhanced brand content, and this is really important if you are going to implement it, is that you must always still fill in your description and features the normal way too, in the way that I've just shown you, because this is where the search engines will find your keywords still. So even though the enhanced brand content will still be on your page, you must still fill in your descriptions and everything in the usual way as well. And you can use the same content if you wanted to in both. It's really easy to set it up. So you.
Hey Kim, real quick, I'll give you a break to catch your breath. So guys, the T-shirt and the scholarship you just mentioned, I want to expand on that for 1 minute. This is a great opportunity for me to pitch this. I dropped the link in the chat box. If you guys want a Jungle Scout shirt, they're sweet shirts. They're really nice. I actually normally wear them for the webinars. All the profits from that go to the Jungle Scout scholarship program. So once a semester, we run a scholarship to help someone in like a business or entrepreneurship or programming, studying that in university to help them like pay their way. And it also involves like personal one-on-one mentoring for that. So one, you guys would look really good in a Jungle Scout shirt. I'd love it if you'd buy one. All the profits go towards the scholarship program. And two, if you are a student or your kids are college students, or you know someone who's a college student, we normally don't have like that many applicants for our scholarship program. So there's like a pretty good chance that you'll win it. I think last time we only had like 20 or 30 applicants or something, and we select one. So A, I really think you should buy a Jungle Scout t-shirt, and B, apply for the scholarship if you're a university student or know someone that is. So Kim, back to you now.
Awesome, I like it. They are really nice shirts. Yeah, cool. So enhanced brand content, yeah, it's really easy to set it up. You go to advertising on the main navigation within Seller Central. Enhanced brand content will be under there if you're eligible. And then you pick your product that you want to add it to, and then you get to select one of a variety of templates. And you can play around with these. You can add your images and text that way. The benefits, like I've said, make your content more visual and easier to scan. You can section your product information into logical sections with headers and taglines, like I've been speaking about. And yeah, you can add images too. The pitfalls. So as I've said, you really must fill out the product content the usual way. So it's a little bit more work, but if you're going to use similar or the same content, it takes a couple of seconds really. The other thing is enhanced brand content. As I've said, I have been playing around with this. It is approved by real humans at Amazon. So basically, you can get away with less. There are a bunch of rules that they list in terms of what you can and can't put on enhanced brand content listings. And if they spot anything that they're not happy with, then they'll push it back to you and ask you to change it before it gets made live. So sometimes it can take a few days to get approved, whereas with a regular listing, it's pretty instantaneous. And the other thing is you really do need high quality engaging images and maybe some infographics if you're going to use enhanced brand content. And ideally you're probably going to want a bunch of different images to what's in your main carousel as well. So that's just something to think about there. The other part where you need to put your keywords is in the back end of Amazon Seller Central, like I've mentioned earlier. You get 5 separate fields here. I think you can add like up to 1,000 keywords, or is it characters, Greg? I think it's keywords.
Yeah, I think it's actually characters. So 1,000 characters per line, so 5,000 total. So it's quite a few keywords. It's actually kind of hard to fill it up. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, like we said earlier, you don't really want to be, putting pointless keywords that aren't relevant to your product even in here. So it is quite difficult to fill that up. And again, this doesn't have to be perfect right away. You can add to this and amend it at any time. Like I said, don't put any punctuation in here. I've already started to put a whole bunch of stuff in. Generally, best practice, whether it's a myth or not, is to put your most important keywords in this first line. And yeah, you can just put all sorts of things in here without any punctuation. Amazon's advice is not to include like common misspellings or plurals or things like that. But I mean, especially if you've got the space, like add some in, why not? It can't hurt. It's really going to help in the long run. So yeah, that's essentially where you put your keywords. So I actually didn't copy and paste all of my keyword research into here. So from here, you know, I could just copy and paste all this in, but like half of these have the word towel in. So I don't want to waste up those character limits by adding the word towel a million times. So I kind of just went through and pulled out all the relevant words and other things that I picked up along the way and just added it in there. And yeah. And
Yeah,
then
I'll also just say, like, Amazon claims that you don't have to use, you know, like the same keyword more than once. If it's like a really important term, you may want to. And another like best practice that we've never proven, but like this is like commonly what people say, is that your most important keyword should go in the top line. Does that really matter? I have no idea, but it's like, it's pretty easy to do. So I think we normally just do it anyway. And Kim, you spelled microfiber the British way, and this is going on Amazon.com.
oh no. Do you know what? There's so many words that I keep finding out are spelt differently. I'll add it to my list.
Okay.
So yeah, that was everything. Covered enhanced brand content. So I mean, Greg, I'll pass over to you. Got some time, I think, for some questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for that, Kim. One question I'll be happy to answer, guys. A fair amount of people are asking about, like, what if you don't have listing control? What if you try to change a listing and it won't let you? So generally, if you create a listing, 90% of the time or more, you'll have like listing control. So Amazon will let you change, you know, the title, the description, the bullets, all that kind of stuff. If they don't, you can usually email them and ask them for listing control and explain that you created the listing. And oftentimes they'll let you then edit it, even if you don't have brand registry. If that still doesn't work, then like kind of like the last resort, or something that's good to do anyway that we'll cover at another episode, is getting brand registry. So that tells Amazon, hey, like, I own the Jungle Snugs brand. The owner of Jungle Snugs brand is also the owner of this Amazon account. So, you know, I should be the one that can edit this listing, no one else. So that's something that's pretty important. Someone else asked about like optimization after a listing's already on Amazon. So you can use all these same tactics that we've been talking about like looking for like the most searched keywords, you know, putting a lot of your keywords like in the back end search terms. You can use all these same things to optimize the listing, same as you would when you're setting up the listing. So those are like some kind of tips I have. If you want further optimization, I don't want this to be like a sales pitch for Splitly, but what we've learned is like a lot of things, for example, like a main image. I used to be able to think that I could tell like which main image would perform better, but what I've learned through split testing is I can't. I honestly have no idea. Sometimes like the weirdest images perform really well. Other times it's the one you'd expect. So like if you're really trying to optimize it like more so than like what's covered in this, all I can recommend to you is A/B testing, whether like you do that with yourself without software or use Splitly. That's a way to like, that's the only way I know is through A/B testing to get it like really kind of like super optimized. Let's see, what other kinds of, Kim, do you remember what's required for enhanced brand content? Like the restrictions or what you have to do?
I think you have to have brand registry. I know that for sure. I'm not sure if you also need like a certain type of account. I mean, the best way to check obviously is to just go into your account and see if it comes up as an option in your Seller Central. And if not, and you do have brand registry, then, I mean, I guess you could reach out to Amazon and ask them, you know, if it's something you can have access to, and if not, why.
Cool. So another question, what's the limit on keywords? I'm pretty sure it's 1,000 characters per line, and this is your back-end search term keywords. So keep in mind, these are like in addition to your title and your bullet points and your description. These are like even more keywords that you're going to add on. And it's like 1,000 characters per line. You get 5 lines. You can put a whole bunch of additional keywords in there. Like 6 or 8 months ago, that wasn't the case. It used to only be like 100 characters or something. So they're pretty generous with it now. Oh, how do you know if your product is ranking after all this work? I have a cool hack that I'm going to show you guys. So, all right. So, you know, we've done a lot of work for this, you know, for our bamboo marshmallow sticks. They rank really well. So obviously, like the easiest way to tell if you're, or one good way is, you know, like if you're ranking well, you can just search marshmallow sticks and it's like, oh, look, cool. There I am, like number 5 spot. So that's sweet. If it's like another word that you're not sure whether you're indexed in or not, I'm pretty sure I'm doing this right. We'll find out. You can search for, let's see. You search for your ASIN number. So I just grabbed the ASIN from our URL. And then I'm also going to type marshmallow sticks. So when I do this, we show up as the only result. Now, if I try the ASIN and let's say like water bottle, it will say no results. So I'm not indexed for the word water bottle. So again, I'll do my ASIN and skewers. You know, I am indexed for the word skewers because I show up right there. And if I do this and microphone, then bam, 0 results for this. So yeah, that's a cool way, cool little trick or hack I have to check to see whether or not you're indexed for a particular keyword. Now, being indexed and ranking well for it, that's like a little bit of a different thing, but that's how you can tell like whether Amazon recognizes that keyword's associated with your product or not. Kim, I'll let you take this one. Brendan's asking, do you recommend repeating the same keyword in different parts of the listing, like title, bullet points, description, backend keywords, or is one good enough?
I would, like I say, if you identify your sort of top keywords, like the really hard-hitting keywords, then you know I would try and include them in as many areas as possible. But you know, try and again, like I say, make it human friendly. So you know, try and word it in a slightly different way. But yeah, and then other tertiary keywords, I would probably only include in the features in the description, and then I will put all of them into the search terms in the back end of Seller Central. It's you know, you can play around with it over time and see if that affects things as well. It is a fine balance, and you've got to try and get it so that you're ranking, but then also so that the copy on your listing is actually selling your product to potential customers.
Thrilling asks, how can we build an Amazon empire like you, Greg? You can follow the $1 million case study. We're not like, we have no secrets. We're telling you guys about everything I know. So just follow this. Are you supposed to put your brand on the title? This is actually a little bit of a, there's lots of different opinions about this. I think Kim said you should. So no one's probably going to be searching for Jungle Snugs, right? Like our brand name, although I really wish it was well known, it's not really. It's not like Nike. So no one's probably going to be searching for Jungle Snugs. There is a group that argues or believes that listings that your title starts with like Jungle Snugs rank better. There's so much that goes into like the A9 algorithm. It's pretty hard to prove this for sure. You can split test this. Like you could try like Jungle Snugs at the beginning versus like at the end or not at all. So I don't have a great answer for you. Like when in doubt, you could just go for it. And then down the road, you could split test it. But like we said, like people aren't really going to be searching for Jungle Snugs. They're going to be searching for hooded towel or baby towel or bamboo hooded towel or whatever else. Yeah. Asset asks, does the keyword from the title, is it stronger than like the keywords elsewhere? Again, like no one knows all the factors that go into the A9 algorithm. However, I personally believe that yes, the keywords in your title should be like your most popular or most important or the highest search for keywords, because it's my personal belief that Amazon does rank or does like understand that those are like your most important keywords and probably gives you like a little bit of extra juice for ranking for those particular words. Are the pictures in the EBC the same as the top of the listing?
They can be, although I think Amazon advised that they shouldn't be, but you can use the same pictures. I mean, generally speaking, you kind of want to add something extra in the description. So it'd probably be cool to like either take some extra cool images, maybe get a few infographics made up or something like that to add that point of difference. But you can get away with using the same pictures in the enhanced brand content.
Yeah, I think for Jungle Sticks, we still have a lot of the same images. We should like make some new, cooler ones or something. Some of the ones I really like are kind of like little like matrix ones that kind of like compare you to like a competitor or like the others. Those are pretty cool ones. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be improved even on our listings too. They're by no means perfect, but yeah, that's what's cool. You can always kind of like continue to improve them. So someone's asking about putting brand names in the backend keywords. I think Amazon actually does say that it's against the TOS to put brand names in the backend keywords. That being said, I know a lot of people do it, and I've never heard of like anyone getting in trouble for it. So like, I guess do so at your own risk. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. Like it may help you, but I think also like Amazon's pretty smart. I think they know that like even if you don't put like Lego in there, but you have like these like plastic stacking connectable blocks to like kind of rank you for that. But yeah, I don't know for sure. All right, so guys, next week on Wednesday, we're going to be talking about our launch strategy. So, you know, Kim put all this work in and have us our listing ready. We still need some photography. Our product isn't quite in yet. I think we were hoping it'd be in by next week. So, you know, we could be talking about it at the same time that we're actually going to launch. It doesn't look like our product's going to be in yet, but we are going to be talking about our launch strategy. So I know this is a hot topic. This is something that a lot of people are like, oh, can you still launch products on Amazon? I know you can't do the whole review giveaway thing anymore. Yes, I've launched a whole bunch of products since October. It still works. I found a launch strategy that is very effective. I've been very successful at getting ranked well for these, my main keywords, like within like the first week or 2 weeks or whatever. So I will reveal that strategy for you guys next week. That's what we'll be talking about. So you're going to want to make sure to join. If you're attending this webinar, then we'll automatically email you about it. If you're watching a replay, make sure you sign up on junglescout.com. And guys, if you're enjoying the $1 million case study, I would really like it if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel. So if you're watching this on our site, you can just click the YouTube logo in the bottom right. You can find that subscribe button. You can subscribe to it. That really helps us out a lot and motivates us to continue with the $1 million case study. And we're going to be doing some little short videos in the future, kind of like behind the scenes looks of kind of like optimizing our listing, or maybe like reveal our product on there. So you're going to want to make sure to be subscribed so that YouTube lets you know about everything that we're doing with the $1 million case study. So that's going to wrap it up, guys. Thank you very much for watching it. I hope you got a lot of information, action out of it. I've seen that the comment box has been very active, and I really appreciate that. If you are watching the replay, just leave some comments below if you have any questions, and we'll be more than happy to come back and answer them. So see you guys later. Bye, Kim.
Bye.
Adios.